welcome back to Excel Trainings. This is part of our series where we are going through different topics that you should be aware of in specific to an administrative role. However, it's not just administrative roles. In fact, all kinds of job roles, sales, or anything per se, you would need to know all these functions that would make your life way easier when it comes to Excel formatting and calculations. We have done sessions on all these 4 topics. Some have counted data filters, data sorting. I'm going to skip pivot table for now because that is a complete set of series. We will add in that as a separate series itself for pivot tables. That's a bit of an advanced level of Excel. Going to the cell formatting for now, and this session is about cell formatting. Though the topic is simple and easy, there's a lot of functions or a lot of things you can do in Excel using formatting. So when you talk about formatting, people just think that it is changing the cell color or adding decimals, changing the format of numbers. Yes, that and more. So we have put 14 divisions to this topic, and obviously there are a few subdivisions. And without further ado, let's start off with the number format. Number format is kind of what you do is you enter in the number. Excel detects that it's a number by default. You can go ahead and change the number format by going into home, the number subdivision section over here, change it by shortcuts, a list of shortcuts here, or you can also do it by the shortcuts given straight over here: decimal points, decimal, increase, reduce, percentage, $sign. So all that can be done from here. You get more options by going into clicking the cell, right click and go to format cells, and you get the format cells dialog, and you can do the same set of changes by going here also. Now for now I'll just keep this as number, 0 decimal points, click OK, and we have 5. Going next to decimal places versus round. What does decimal points that doesn't make sense. Decimal points is, everyone knows what decimal places is. How do you add decimal places in Excel? You have shortcut over here in the number subsection where you add in decimal points over here, or if you move your cursor over here, that's decrease the decimal. Keep clicking it and reduces your decimal points. Okay, and in order to make it a little bit practical, what I'll do is I'll put a few numbers after 5. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and obviously I have to just add in a little bit more. Okay, I can add in more decimals. Let's stick to 6 for now. Now what we are discussing here is decimal places versus round. Now this is the number format I have, but I need to show only 2 decimal points in this number, and for that I can use straightforward the reduce decimal icon over here. Click on it to bring that number to a 2 decimal point. Also I can do right click and format cells, go to number and change the decimal places over here. I want 2 decimal places, click OK, and you get this. Now I will show you a simple what happens when you do that is you are literally not changing the number, because when you click in the cell you can see that it shows you all the decimal points. So suppose this is a working file and you have a customer file where you need this data to be entered in the customers file. So when you do this copy and pasting of values, the number doesn't really change, and this might cause trouble, especially during your deadline submissions of whatever for say. So what happens is you're really not changing the number. Only thing what you're doing is you're changing how it looks. What a round function does. Okay, so this is round function. What round function does is it changes the number. It doesn't change the way it's viewed, but it literally changes the number into 2 decimal or 3 decimal. And how you do that is entering the formula equals round, open brackets, select the number, comma, and number of decimals that you want after the whole number, and I select 2, close the bracket, enter. Now if I go ahead and copy this, paste values, it pulls only 5.12, which means the number itself is changed. What round does is it rounds the figure to let me just put 3 decimal points over here. Okay, now what we did is we round the figure with 2 decimal points, and the last digit in the decimal is dependent on what the third or the next decimal is in the original number. So if it's 1, 2, 3, your round is 5.12. Now if it's 1, 2, say 6, so I change that 3 to 6, enter, and your round figure automatically changes to 5.13, which is normal default setting, wherein any number, if it's beyond 5 after the second decimal point, your second decimal point increases by 1 digit. If it's anything lesser than 5, say 4, it remains the same. At times we don't want this default setting, which you can obviously change or manually use round up to make sure that the next decimal point is, instead of round, if you see round up, okay, enter, the last decimal number automatically increases by a single digit. That is round up. Even you have round down, DOWN, so regardless what the last digit is, your second decimal point doesn't go up, it always remains what it is. Now that is a round function, which we can discuss at a later stage, but this is the what I wanted to show was the formatting doesn't change the number what you have, it only changes the way you view a number. Alright, so that's decimal places. Going to fractions, not very common, but however, since we are discussing the topic, suppose you go ahead and enter 1/4. Okay, I haven't clicked enter. What do you think Excel would do? It changes it, or Excel basically pulls the data, processes it, and automatically gives you a format what it thinks is right. So if I click on enter, this is gonna bring in a date, most probably, 4th of Jan. So if I say second 2 by 10, 10th of Feb. So Excel has this formatting where it automatically sets the kind of data you enter. Now how do you escape this? What you do is enter a 0 space 1/4, and your fraction is there. Now you have set the format. Now if you go ahead and instead of putting 0, just put 2/3, it will remain, because why that happens is basically you have set the cell format what it should be. And if you go to the function formula, you can see what is the result of that 2/3 is. Also, there is something more to this. For example, if I can first go to the format dialog, which will make it more easier. So when you right click that, since the format is already fraction, the format cell dialog goes directly to fractions and up to 1, 2, 3 digits. What does this mean? If I have a fraction of 1 by 11, it doesn't give me the formula. It does give me the result in the function. It doesn't show me the formula. Here you'll have to right click, go to format cells, and you put 1 by 11, that is 2 digits. Click OK, and it displays as per what you need. Also, you have 3 digits. So that's how you format these cells. Alright, let's delete that for now, and that's how we do fractions. Now we go to currency versus accounting. How is that different? Now I put number 7 here, okay, and you have a shortcut over here for accounting. If I put accounting over here, it shows $7. If I put currency over here, it shows $7. There is no significant change, but the change would be visible if you have a negative number and a 0. Select all of them. Again, we're going to go back to currency. So what currency does is 0, it puts as $0, -2 as -2. Now let's change it to accounting. There's no negative shown in accounting. It puts in a bracket, and 0 is put just as a dash. There is no 0 in it. So however you want to do it, depends on your purpose, but this is the basic difference of using currency formatting and accounting formatting. Accounting formatting doesn't have a minus, and it doesn't have a 0. You can, however, right click, go to format cells, and change how you want it to be displayed. If I want to change the currency and show it as instead of minus, if I want it as red highlighted in brackets, I can do that as well. Now you can play around with this, but there's a slight difference between currency and accounting. Let's go into next, text to numbers. Now why text to numbers? You would have come across certain values or data where the data doesn't, how do I show this to you? Hold on. Okay, so I have entered a few numbers here, and I have actually manually changed this to text. But what happens is sometimes when you have data, you'll get a drop down towards left, and wherein the data that you copied would have copied as a text, and that's why some of your numbers would be aligned to the left side of the column. A number is always aligned to the right side of the column. That's how you can make out what a number is and what text is. Like even if I click on this, you can see how that changes in your top toolbar. It shows as text. If I go to this number 2, it shows as general, which I can change to a number. Now what you can do is you can just select this, right click, and format cells, change to number, so that all of them has the number format. Sometimes even numbers with an apostrophe before it is considered a text. So what you do is remove the apostrophes, and these numbers or text converts to a number. You can also, what you can do is there's a way you can change or paste into values. Whenever you come across such data, just copy and paste special, select values, click OK, and that removes almost all the pre-formatting, and you get just the numbers. If you can see, it's 2.00, it's all converted to basic numbers. Alright, so that's paste values. Paste values has other functions also. If you let's go back, paste values. This paste values is what we discussed. I would urge you guys to go through all the skip blanks, transpose, different ways of space specials. These are really helpful, and we would have a separate topic on this. Let's cancel this for now and let's get to the next subtopic, which is the right or left. What does right or left mean? Now, suppose if you have a data that shows you text as Mary scored 25. Next one is Tom won at 40. Okay, so suppose you have data or Excel with numbers towards the end, and you just need to extract the numbers from this. You just want 25 and 40 in these cells. How you do that is you put in the function equals right. So now what Excel does is it selects the text. Okay, so you're saying right of this text, comma, how many numbers or how many characters are there towards the end? That's 2, right? You have to pull 25, which is the last 2 characters of this whole sentence. You put comma, enter 2, close brackets, enter. And similarly for the next one, here you drag it down and you get 40. Now you can copy this, paste values, and it pulls just the numbers from it. Now this is what I was talking about, where you have to convert it into a text. Select that, click over here, the number stored as text, convert number or ignore it. Yes, convert number, and you get basic numbers. So this is right. Now I can say similarly, if you have text that has numbers in the beginning, say 01 Tommy her figure, 05 Sunny Wayne. Okay, and instead of right, I would use left, because it's on the left side of the sentence. Equals left, select the text, comma, and how many characters? 1, 2. You put 2 characters, close the bracket, enter. 01, 02. I'm sorry, 05. Now copy, right click, paste values. Now the data is actually in text, so you click on this and put as convert to number, and you get the digit. A bit extended version of this is text to columns. You can browse it, and I would just give it a try on how you can convert those data into different structures. Like for example, if I'm going to do Mary score 25, instead of doing right or left, I would just select this. If your data is in a unique format, it's much more easier, otherwise it's going to mess it up. So here these two are no, I can't probably use for both of them. If I have scored comma 25, term 1 at comma 40, these two I can do a text to columns delimited by. Okay, instead of fixed width, I'll use delimited by a comma, and you see how that divides the line. Click next. Okay, there's already data here. Do you? Yes. Okay, and you get these separate. So that's again text to column, which will divide your data based on a set rules or whatever you define over here. Play around with this. This is a little bit more advanced. We are not going to go in depth into it because we got more to do in cell formatting. That's right to left. Done with that. And numbers to text. Number to text is pretty straightforward, like how we did text to numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These numbers. If I want them in text format, I would just select them, right click, format cells, change the text. Okay. You can also do that by adding an apostrophe before the one, and that becomes text. Right. That's one of the real life scenarios where you have to convert a number to text would be for example, when you're using a UPC number. UPC numbers are something that's unique to each and every product you buy from a supermarket, and they would have a number that's something like similar to 1001002 or I don't know 100. They have a special set of numbers. Some of or I have seen numbers that really starts with a 0. So instead of a 1, this could be a 0. And what does Excel do when you put a 0? It changes it to a whole number by removing all the zeros, and that messes up your entire data, or your formatting of your unit product code or UPC changes. So at that instance, it's always best to use this text format of a number to make sure that your number is visible the way you want it. So instead of that, instead of entering the number, I would normally put an apostrophe before the number and start with zeros, and your number will remain intact. And that's one of the examples why you really need to show a number as a text. Going forward to the next topic, which is text function. Now, what does text function do? Text function is text, open bracket, close bracket. Suppose you have a value of 2500 and I want to display as Mary gets a package of 2500 monthly. Take home is about she or someone earned 2500 in the previous month. So in that, what I would normally do is equals Mary. Sorry, for this you'll have to put columns before and after. So here we go, Mary and you don't need to put an apostrophe here. Okay, put an and sign to combine what you have typed, which is the variables Mary and we'll combine the next cell. Okay, so instead of just selecting the next cell, okay, if I do that, what will happen is it will join these two, but it doesn't really make sense. So how you format that is, after earned, put a space Okay, enter. Now you have a space between your text and your number. Now again, you're talking about currency. You want to display it as currency, and how you do that is by using the text function. So instead of just selecting the cell, I would put text open bracket, select the cell number, comma, and then you change the format to how you want to display this. So I will select the format as open apostrophe $, okay, 0.2 decimal points, close brackets, enter. Now you get a proper currency format. Now I want to have a comma between 2 and 5 to be more clear, right? And how you format that is, instead of 0, what you do is put hash, comma, hash, which defines where your comma is supposed to be displaying. Enter, and it formats the text as Mary Ann earned $2,500 with the comma between 2 and 5, and this is the proper way of displaying a sentence. Now my usual practice is I would never do a manual entry in between a formula. Okay, that is a very bad practice. What I would normally do is enter Mary earned in a different cell, and in the formula or the function, I would just, instead of entering this over here, I'll select the cell, enter. So what will happen is it will combine the data together. So I'll put, either I can put it over here as space and colon, which will display it like this, or what I can do is define the space in the formula itself. So instead of and text, I would put apostrophe space, close it, put and again text. So there you go. And this time I can just change the text here and your formula changes. When you do hard coding, you had to go back to the formula, change inside the formula, which is a really bad practice. Always use a definite variable separate from your formula. Now suppose now we discussed the $sign. Let's see how percentage would be. Similar manner, only thing is instead of the $sign and all these values, you just put 0%, and that converts to percentage. Kind of simple, straightforward formatting. Now how does the date play? I'll do the same format. Instead of 2500, I'll put 4th Jan here. Mary gets paid on. Okay, I'm just going to copy this or drag this formula down. Why is it showing percentage? Because we mentioned percentage in the format text. What I'll do is I'll change this to month, day, comma, year. January 4, 2021. Now this particular format of date, you can keep playing around with this how you want it and see how that changes. So I removed one M and the January goes into Jan 04. Now I can change one more 0104. It doesn't make sense, so you have to probably put 3 M's. Okay, and instead of DD I'll put 3D and see how that works. Month, God knows what that is, so I will put that as, I'll change that to 2Ds, so that's Jan 4. Okay, say I want to put day in first, I'll put Monday. Okay, 4Ds, Monday, Jan 4, 2021. Play around with the formats, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Excel has different ways of displaying it. Only when you keep trying different ways of formatting, you will get a hang of it. So that's the text function. Going next to custom number format. I had my struggles with the custom num format. First, let me delete this. Okay, custom num format, like for example, when we have measurements to be displayed. So if it says 4 inch, okay, inch, I would have to type in 4 inch, right, and then 5 inch, and if I have to add it, I cannot, because these are not numbers. They have become text the moment I entered a text in this. And if I put 5 and then separate inch, and then I add this and mention total is 9 inch, it kind of messes up the way how you display your data and how your whole formatting works. Instead of that, what you can do is, Excel has a way you can add these extra inch or meter or whatever jargons you want to add to your number in using a custom num format. Okay, let's say I have a calculation like this. Item 1, okay, 5 meters. Item 2, 10 meter, meters, meter, okay, and total. I cannot add it as we discussed before. Okay, instead of that, what does custom formatting do? So you want to have different units next to each of these numbers, and how you can do that is, Excel has a way which is custom formatting. Click on format cells, go to custom formatting, okay, and here you mention 0.00 based on how many decimal points you need, space, apostrophe, and enter the unit. So suppose it's inch, close apostrophe, enter. There you go. So it's displaying as per how we want it. Now again, if I want it as meters, right click, format cells, custom. Now I don't want to have decimals, so I'll remove the decimal point. Instead of inch, I would mention as M, and there you go. So that's how you can do custom formatting of units, instead of going ahead and entering a different cell and finding difficulty to sum this. Here, if I add this as 10, see how that gets calculated. So that's the custom formatting of units. Next is how you want to display the value. Now you're adding, say, $1 million, all right, and $2 million. And how much do you get? You get obviously 3 million. Now suppose you're dealing with even larger numbers, Okay, do you really want to show 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0? You know, that's bonkers. It doesn't format, and that's where your whole cell formatting comes into place. Instead of that, what you do is select the cells again, right click, format cells, custom format. Okay, and you go ahead and type in 0 point, say 0, 0, comma. Okay, now did you see what happened when I put a comma? When I put, so you have 6 zeros for a million. When I put a comma, that's equivalent to 1,000. Again, I put a comma, that's equivalent to a million. Space M. So it's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. And if you go to the formula bar, you can see that's clearly, again, cell formatting is basically how you view the data. You are not changing the numbers. So what you see is 1 million, 2 million, and 3 million. So in case if I don't want million, right click, format cells, custom. I'll remove a comma and make it thousands or K. So that's 1000 K, which is obviously 1 million. 200, 2 million. It doesn't make sense. It should be millions when if you are making short anyways. Alright, so let's do that. Okay, so that's large numbers, how you deal with large numbers. And next one we are going to is repeated characters. What does repeated characters? Suppose you have say you're creating a file where you have a signature sign. You say sign, and I used to do this. I'll keep putting dot 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 dot. In fact, this is not the right way to do it. Okay, for these repeated dots, Excel has a custom way of doing that. What you do is you select the cell again, right click, format cells, and click on custom. Okay, and let's remove this general. Put at the rate of. What at the rate of means is whatever your data in whatever data you've typed in the cell. Right now, this at represents sign colon. Okay. Now what you do is put a star. Okay. And after the star, you put in whichever number, whichever value you want to repeat. So if I put dot, click OK, and that fills the gap with all dots. So if I keep extending this, that dot keeps repeating itself to the length of your cell. Now let's change that to underscore. OK, and you see that how it's repeating. It's repeating. Basically, you're not seeing the repeat because it's obviously close to each other. They don't have a space in between. And let me try with alphabets. I never tried with an alphabet. Okay. Well, what do you know? Anything and everything after that star gets repeated. Okay, good practice. We're done with repeated characters. Now going to colors. Let's deal with a few numbers here. Let's say 500. Oh, sorry. I have to remove the formatting and change this to a number. Say 500, say 600, minus 100, 0, hello, hi. Okay, we have different set of data over here. Now I want the formatting to happen based on what data you have entered. I want 500 to show positive, green. Well, the formula I have entered here is basically changing all positive numbers to green. Red would be anything that is 0, less than 0. 0 is, it will remain as changed to 0, and blue for all text. Let's try that. I'm going to copy this formula. I'm just making it easy for myself. Right click, format cells, custom format, change this. Okay, and see how that formatting works. I can explain it quick and we'll get out, because this is a little bit of advanced formatting. Why this is becoming green? For any number that is dollar sign and the number, regardless of how many digits are there, I mentioned in square brackets what color they are supposed to be. Let me just, okay, so green for any number that is positive, semicolon. That means one formatting is done. Now next formatting is red for any numbers in the bracket. If you've seen before, we in our accounting formatting, all negative numbers are shown in brackets. So that's what we indicate over here. Anything bracket meaning anything negative becomes red in color. 0 is basically all 0 is indicated as 0. That's a function. And blue for any text, and that at the rate is basically indicating what you have inside the cells. Okay, so blue for all the text, and this at the rate of is mandatory. Even if I remove this blue, I have to put at the rate of, which is basically it's highlighting, it's indicating what you're reading. You're reading the content of each of the cell. If I click OK, oh wait, I didn't do the custom formatting for all cells, that's why it's still showing as custom. And instead of text blue, I would remove this text blue, click to have a semicolon, which indicates a close of each formatting. And at the rate is mandatory, regardless you have is mandatory for the cell to, or for the format to see what data you have entered. Alright, give it a try. If it's not if it's too complicated, do let me know in comments, and I will make sure I have a separate video just for this formatting. Date and times is it's kind of something we already discussed. Date Jan. Okay, when it comes to custom formatting, so if I say too much of formatting here, let me remove this columns, bear with me for a minute. Let's say 5th Jan. Right click, format cells. Okay, so you know how the regular date works. This is default setting. In custom, this is how it's displayed as of now, which is month first, slash day slash year. Suppose if I put 2m's, it becomes 01. 3m, that becomes a number, or not number, in alphabetical manner, January in short form. 4m, that becomes full January. Day, if I mention 2d, becomes dd becomes 05. One more d becomes Tuesday. Well, you know it's Tuesday, but you don't know whether it is which date it is. So let me just format this a little bit based on what we have here. I'll put DDD Tuesday, comma, DD 5th, space, January would be MMMM 5th January, space, year, and I would delete the rest. So it's not necessary we would know how these spacings and Excel formatting works, but you can change it by seeing how the sample is and amending the formula accordingly. Click OK, and you have your date as per your custom format. So that's date and times. Oh, times, custom format. It's hour. Okay, select this and go to custom. You see how I changed that, or how did I figure out how to enter? So I went to the date, which is default, selected one which has the date and time, and come back to custom. You already have it, but here you'll see how these minutes and days are called for. Let's say PM, custom. So hour, minute, AM, PM. At the rate is obviously the data, and here you can change to Jan. So if I mention this over here, I don't know the stop sign. Tuesday 5th Jan. 12 a.m. Okay, and there you go. So we have covered for dates and times. Alrighty, let's go to the next one, which is Format Painter. We have discussed Format Painter in our previous lessons. However, since it's a part of cell formatting, we'll see how we can do Format Painter. Suppose I have data over here that says serial description, and that's a specific format. That's white. And I have another serial number 2, and description number 2. Okay. Now, suppose if I have to do a format painting of a copy, a format of this cell into these cells, I would click on a copy of a Format Painter and click on the cell where I want. Now, suppose if I want to have the same formatting on multiple cells, okay, select the cell which format you want to copy, and instead of a single click, double click that particular cell and keep clicking wherever you want that formula, or the format to copy it. So that's single click and double click. Double click will make sure that your Format Painter keeps active even after the first use. I mean, even after the first paste of the format. Okay, and going next to cell styles. Cell styles is nothing but it's predefined set of formats. So let me just put in some data here. Again, serial number, description. If you go to home, styles, you get format cell styles over here. Click on that and you'll see a series of how you want the data to be defined. It's kind of default set of format. Let me just go ahead and select this, and you have a cell style. You can do your own styles. You can go to new style, give it a new style name, and format it to display font. You want it bold, you want 72 border, blackened out on all four sides, alignment upside down. Okay, click OK. Alright, and how do you enter that? How do you select that style? Select the cells you want that style to be applied. Go to cell styles, and there you have custom. I'm sorry that is really messed up, but for the example's sake. So you go to cell styles and you have your saved style over there. Select it anytime you want to use it. You delete that, and that's cell styles. Let's go to the next one, which is wrap text. So I'll just little lamb. Okay, now wrap text, automatic wrap text is you go to home and select in alignment wrap text, and that wraps the data that you have. Okay, it by default, the height of it is, if you want to change the height based on how the data is arranged, you can double click on the left hand side, right up the column and right up to the row, and it will automatically adjust. That's wrap text. Now sometimes what happens is, suppose you have a large list of paragraph, and at a specific point you want this lamp to come down, or actually go to the next line. And for that, instead of wrap text, what you do is you click where you want the sentence to be broken to the next line, hold down the Alt button and click enter. Enter. You see how that, so that's pretty much simple. As in a Word file you would just click enter, but here if you click enter, you go to the next cell. So instead of going to the next cell, you click where you want the next paragraph or next line to start. Alt enter will make sure you remain in the same cell, and the sentence is broken down to whichever, how many levels you want. Also, if you see the wrap text, it by default brings the text bottom side of the cell. So you click the cell, always make sure you go back to top align and left align based on how you want to do it. I normally do this top align. Excel by default brings it towards the bottom. Okay, so we have done the wrap text, automatic and line break. Line break is Alt plus enter. Let me just mention that there, just for reference. Alt, enter the Alt key plus enter. Next is merge cells. So if you have date 1, and you have different serial description, unit of measurement, price, and you want this date, or say customer name, customer 1. If you want this customer as a center headline for your table, I can do format cells over here. Okay. Suppose you want the customer 1 to be a headline for these columns. What you do is select the cells which is on top of it and click on merge and center. That will merge all the cells. If you want to unmerge, just click on it, click on that merge and center, and that will take it back to the initials. Also note that if you have different customers, customer say 1, 2, 3, 4, always the merge would merge the cells and keep your first top left hand column. So merge center, merge cells only keeps the upper left value and discards other values. Click OK, and you see how that affects. So be careful when you do merge. You don't want to lose data that you don't necessarily want to lose. So be cautious about it. Or you can just do a Control Z and take it back to where it initially was. Strike through is kind of straightforward. So we have done all these tasks. Now we want to strike through. Just select what all you have done, right click, format cells, and go to font. You see strike through here, select that, click OK, and all that tasks are done. Right? Control Z for now. And there is a shortcut key for this. So you select the cell and do Control 5. Yeah, okay. And Control 5 again. So what you do is Control CTRL key plus the number 5. That's a shortcut for strike through. Subscript and superscript. Suppose you're using formulas, say x square. What you do is, and I face this formula issue when I come across entering data where it says a degree Celsius, so what you do is you select the one that you want, a superscript or subscript, select only that alphabet or character, format cells, superscript, okay, and you see how that is arranged. Now if I want it as subscript, same way, select that, format cells, subscript, okay, and that becomes. However, this is again just a display method. If you want a real calculation, suppose you want to do 8 square, what you have to do is equals and enter 8, and you're going to do Control 6, Alt 6, oh sorry, Shift 6. Okay, Shift 6 will give you this special symbol and square. So what you're doing here is 8 square, and this is the formula how you do 8 square, enter, and you get 64. So that's for calculation basis. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how you would show the data or display the data as superscript or subscript. For superscript or subscript, select the the alphabet or the number that you want to show as superscript or subscript. Right click, format cells, and select what you want it to show it as, superscript or subscript. Click OK, and that's where your formatting of that task works. Next, finally we come to the check marks. Not difficult unless you don't know how to do it, right? It's pretty easy. It's just a matter of entering an alphabet and using a particular font. So if I always use capital P, and change the font to Webdings 2. So that's W Webdings 2, and you get a tick mark. As simple as that. I have gone into Google, I have copied the check mark and pasted it, but this is kind of the easiest way to do it. Also, the same manner, if you want it as an X mark, you just put capital P, 0 O, sorry, not 0 O. Again, remember, this has to be capital. If it's small caps, you will get a completely different picture. Okay, that's how you use a capital P for a check mark. You can also do insert symbol, and you can select from here Webdings, and you can select from the set of here. So that's another way of doing it. I would always prefer going for the formatting, simple, straightforward. Alright, so we covered almost all parts of cell formatting. I'll be glad if you could comment or mention any of the if you need me to add in more to this particular training. I hope I've covered most part of cell formatting in Excel. Right, thank you everyone. Do subscribe and like our pages so you are aware as soon as we pop or we bring in the next set of trainings.